I never thought one quiet evening at home would flip my entire life upside down. It started out so normal, just me, my mom, and my stepdad eating dinner like we always did. We weren't the perfect family, but we had a rhythm. My stepdad had always been the calm one, the kind of guy who barely raised his voice and always paid attention to the little things. My favorite snacks in the pantry, new shoes when I needed them, a ride whenever I asked. Looking back, maybe I should have noticed something was off. But I didn't. None of us did. Not until that night. He had this habit of staying up late, sitting in the living room after everyone else had gone to bed, scrolling on his phone or watching documentaries. I never thought much of it, until I walked past the hallway one night and saw something I wasn't supposed to see. It wasn't anything loud or dramatic. Just a look. A message flashing across the screen. And then the way he quickly locked his phone like he was hiding something. That moment stuck with me. My gut said something wasn't right, but I didn't know what. Not yet. Things started changing slowly. My mom, who's usually cheerful and strong, began acting distant. She would ask questions like, "Do you feel like your stepdad's been acting weird lately? Or have you noticed him texting more?" I told her I hadn't seen anything, but deep down, I knew something was building. Something neither of us were ready for. The tension in the house grew thicker every day, and I found myself caught in the middle, unsure of who to trust or what to believe. Then came the night everything cracked open. My mom was supposed to be out with friends. I was upstairs in my room, half asleep, when I heard voices, whispers, downstairs. I figured maybe she came home early. But when I peeked from the top of the stairs, I saw my stepdad standing in the kitchen with someone. A woman. She wasn't my mom. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but I didn't need to. The way he looked at her, the way he touched her arm like they shared something, it wasn't friendly. It was something else. Something deeper. My heart started racing. I wanted to confront him right then and there, but something in me said to wait, to watch. I knew whatever was going on, this wasn't a one-time thing. This had history. And I needed to find out the truth before I said anything. What followed over the next few days felt like I was living in a dream, or more like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Secrets came out little by little. Some I stumbled on accidentally. Others, I went looking for. Every message I found, every phone call I overheard, painted a picture I didn't want to see. My stepdad had been living a double life. And the woman? She wasn't just some random person. She was someone we knew. Someone close. I kept thinking, how long had this been going on? Was it before he even married my mom? Had it ever really stopped? The worst part wasn't even the affair, it was how careful he'd been. How normal he acted. Like nothing was wrong. Like we were all just playing roles in some twisted script he wrote. And then, one day, I accidentally left my phone recording in the kitchen while I stepped out. What I heard on that recording made my stomach drop. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I had to tell someone. I had to do something. But what I didn't know was that by uncovering the truth, I was about to set off a chain of events none of us could have seen coming. Everything was about to change. The recording changed everything for me. At first, I wasn't even planning to listen to it. I had left my phone on the counter by accident, thinking it was off. But when I picked it up later and saw that it had been recording for almost 40 minutes, something told me to check. My hands were literally shaking as I hit play. I sat on the edge of my bed with my headphones in, heart pounding so hard I could barely breathe. At first, it was just the normal sounds of the house's footsteps, the fridge opening, a cup being placed on the counter. But then I heard his voice. My stepdad. Talking low, like he didn't want anyone else to hear. He wasn't talking to my mom. It was someone else. A woman. Same voice I heard that night in the kitchen. They were talking about keeping things quiet and not letting her find out. I froze. Her was clearly my mom. And that's when I knew it was real. It wasn't in my head, and it wasn't a one-time mistake. This had been going on for a while. I kept thinking, how could he do this to her? To us? My mom had gone through so much before she met him. She was a single mom for years, working long shifts, missing sleep, sacrificing everything to raise me. When she met him, I thought maybe life was finally giving her a break. He treated her well, at least, in front of us. They had this routine, this rhythm, like they truly cared for each other. But now, I was questioning everything. Was it all fake? I didn't say anything right away. I didn't know how. Every time I looked at him after that, I felt sick. He'd smile, make small talk, ask me about school like nothing was wrong. Meanwhile, I was carrying this huge secret around, trying not to fall apart. I started noticing even more strange things. He was locking his phone more often, stepping outside to take calls. Once, I saw him delete a message right after reading it. That moment confirmed it, he wasn't even trying to stop. He was covering his tracks. The woman he was meeting with? I did some digging. I looked through his social media, went back through old photos and tagged names, trying to connect the dots. Then I saw her. She had been at a family barbecue last summer. I remembered her now, she was one of my mom's coworkers. Friendly, sweet, always complimenting my mom's cooking. I never would have guessed in a million years that she'd be her. The other woman. The betrayal stung in a way I can't even explain. It wasn't just him lying, it was someone my mom trusted, too. Someone who smiled in our faces and then turned around and did that. And now I was stuck with this knowledge, carrying it like a secret weight on my chest every single day. I wanted to scream. I wanted to warn my mom. But how do you tell someone that the man they love and the friend they trusted have been lying to them, together? And then, just as I was trying to figure out my next move, something even weirder happened. I found a letter. Folded up and tucked behind one of the books on the living room shelf. It wasn't addressed to anyone. But the handwriting was his. The first line read, "I never wanted things to turn out this way." I didn't know what the letter meant yet, or how deep things really went. But I had a feeling I was only scratching the surface. I read that letter over and over, trying to make sense of it. It was handwritten, almost messy, like he was rushing or stressed. The more I read, the more I realized it wasn't just some emotional rant, it felt like a confession. He wrote about feeling trapped, about things from the past that kept pulling him back. He mentioned someone named Elle, and I was almost sure that was the woman he'd been seeing. But what really scared me was the last line, "If it all comes out, I'm afraid I'll lose everything." That sentence kept echoing in my head. What exactly was he afraid of losing? Just my mom? Or something else? I started watching him differently. Every move, every word, I picked it apart. My mom didn't seem to notice anything, at least not on the surface. But I could tell something inside her had started to shift. She was quieter, more distant. I caught her staring into space more than once, just lost in thought. One night, I overheard her on the phone, whispering to someone, "I think something's wrong, but I don't know what. I can't put my finger on it." That's when I realized she knew something, even if she didn't have proof yet. While all of this was going on at home, something strange started happening at school too. A guy in my class, Ryan, who I barely talked to, came up to me one day and said, "Hey, is everything okay at home?" I laughed it off, confused, but he didn't look like he was joking. Then he said something that hit me hard. "I saw your stepdad the other night. He was with someone, but it wasn't your mom." My stomach dropped. I hadn't told anyone about what I'd seen or the recording, and now someone else had witnessed it too. It was like everything was starting to unravel, one piece at a time. I asked Ryan for details, and he told me he'd seen them at a restaurant just outside town. He said they were sitting close, laughing, and the woman had touched my stepdad's face. That same woman. It felt like confirmation, but it also made everything feel more real and more terrifying. I wasn't the only one seeing it now. This wasn't just some family issue, it was a story that was starting to leak into the outside world. And then, I noticed something that took the fear to a whole new level. My mom's coworker, the same woman, had started showing up in small ways. Dropping by to check on my mom, bringing over coffee, pretending to be helpful. It felt fake. Forced. Almost like she was trying to keep tabs on us. I couldn't help but wonder, what if she knew I knew? After that day, everything felt like it was closing in. Every moment at home was tense, like a balloon stretched too tight, ready to pop. My stepdad acted like nothing was wrong, still cracking jokes at dinner and pretending everything was normal. But his eyes gave him away. He wouldn't look at my mom for too long, and when he looked at me, it was like he knew I was watching him. Maybe he even suspected that I knew. The energy in the house had shifted completely. We weren't a family anymore. We were three people tiptoeing around the edge of a secret, waiting for someone to finally say it out loud. I started having trouble sleeping. Every little noise made me jump. I kept replaying the recording, the letter, and Ryan's words in my head. And then one night, I saw her again. The woman. She was standing outside in her car, parked just across the street. She wasn't doing anything, just sitting there, engine running, lights off. I watched from my window for over 15 minutes. She didn't get out, didn't knock, just sat there like she was waiting. Or maybe watching. I grabbed my phone to take a photo, but as soon as I raised it, her car pulled off into the dark. That moment chilled me to the core. The next day, things got even weirder. My mom found the letter. I had hidden it behind my bookshelf, but somehow it ended up on the kitchen table. She didn't say a word, but I saw her reading it. Her face went pale. Then she slowly folded it and walked out of the house. No explanation. No goodbye. Just gone. When she came back hours later, she looked different. Quiet. Focused. She didn't speak to either of us, just went upstairs and shut the door. I knew right then, she had made a decision. Something big was coming. And I had no idea what it was, but I could feel it building. Like a storm right outside the door, ready to break everything apart. The silence after my mom returned was worse than any argument could have been. She didn't cry, didn't yell, just moved through the house like a ghost, saying nothing. I knew she had read that letter from my stepdad, and I knew something in her had shifted. But what I didn't expect was what happened the next morning. I woke up to her gone. Her car, her purse, even some of her clothes, gone. No note. No call. Nothing. I was freaking out, thinking maybe she just needed space. But hours passed, then a full day. My stepdad didn't say much. He just mumbled something about her needing time to think. But I saw his hands shaking. He wasn't in control anymore, and he knew it. That's when I decided to go through his stuff, his office, his drawers, anything I could get into. And that's when I found something I wish I hadn't, another phone. It was hidden inside an old shoebox, buried under papers. The phone was off, but when I charged it and turned it on, everything came pouring out. Dozens of messages between him and Elle. But they weren't just about sneaking around or making plans. They were talking about my mom. About what she might know and how they needed to be careful. One message chilled me. If she finds out the full story, it's over for both of us. What full story? That was the twist I wasn't ready for. This wasn't just an affair. There was something else they were hiding. Something even bigger. The more I scrolled, the more I realized there were money transfers, references to something from years ago, and talk about cleaning up loose ends. It didn't feel like cheating anymore, it felt dangerous. And with my mom suddenly gone, no warning, no message. I started to wonder if she had uncovered the truth, and if someone had made sure she wouldn't be able to say anything. I couldn't wait any longer. My heart pounded as I grabbed my phone and called Ryan, telling him everything I had found. He didn't hesitate. Within an hour, he was at my house, ready to help me figure out what was going on. Together, we went to my mom's work to check if she had left any clues there. Her coworker, the one who was always so friendly, gave us nothing but cold looks when we asked about her. We tried calling my mom's phone, but it went straight to voicemail. Every minute that passed felt like a ticking clock, and I could feel the walls closing in. Then it hit me, there was one place we hadn't looked, my stepdad's office. It was always off limits, but now, it felt like the only option. I told Ryan to stay outside, in case anything went wrong. I broke into the office, praying my stepdad wasn't home. What I found nearly made me freeze in my tracks. There, on his desk, was an envelope addressed to me. I opened it, and the first sentence was enough to make my stomach turn. I know you've been looking for answers. But what came next turned everything upside down. The letter explained everything, the affair, the lies, even the strange financial transactions. But then it revealed the biggest shock. I wasn't his only secret. It turned out my stepdad wasn't just hiding an affair, he had been involved in illegal activities, money laundering, and more. He had been using my mom as a cover, and when she started asking too many questions, he panicked. That's when he staged her disappearance. And just as I thought I had it all figured out, the final twist hit me like a punch to the gut. The letter ended with, "If you want to find your mother, you have to come to me. I'm the only one who knows where she is." The moment I read those words, my world came crashing down. I didn't know if I was shaking from fear or anger, but I knew one thing for sure, I had to act fast. My stepdad had taken my mom, and now he was threatening everything I thought I knew about my family. I immediately called Ryan, and without a second thought, we came up with a plan. There was no more waiting. I couldn't just let him control the situation anymore. We drove straight to the address on the letter, an old warehouse on the outskirts of town. My heart raced the whole way, but I kept telling myself I had to be strong. I couldn't let my mom's life be a pawn in whatever game my stepdad was playing. When we arrived, everything felt wrong. The air was thick with tension, and the building was silent, too silent. We crept inside, careful not to alert anyone. And then I saw her. My mom, sitting in a chair, looking tired but unharmed. It was a relief, but the sense of betrayal I felt was overwhelming. My stepdad was there too, sitting in the shadows, watching us. He didn't try to deny anything. He told me the whole truth, how his criminal ties had spiraled out of control, and how my mom had unknowingly gotten caught in the mess. He begged me to understand, but I couldn't. In the end, the police showed up, tipped off by a call Ryan made when things started to go south. My stepdad was arrested, and my mom was free. She and I had a long talk afterward, and though things between us would never be the same, we were finally able to heal. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it's better than living in the dark.